Okay, I think we are live. I want to thank everybody for coming by to hang out for a bit. Appreciate you guys being here. I just realized I've got a couple of things that I need to rearrange that I didn't think through very well. So I saw that there were some people here already. Super appreciate you guys hanging out early. I think that's awesome. Appreciate that. We've got Sven, we've got James Collins, El Jedi, Cheyenne, I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. Tyler is here as well. There's Collins saying hi yet again. Appreciate you guys. We're starting just a minute early, just because I was sitting here waiting, just waiting. And I thought, screw it. Let's jump on. Let's chat. I saw you guys were here, and I love that. So this is also part of the reason that I wanted to go back to just streaming on YouTube, because it gave me a chance to schedule the streams ahead of times, so you guys could join at your leisure. You'd have a place to be community or whatever, right? Whereas when I was doing the dual streaming thing, it was a nightmare when I had to get Twitch involved. So yeah, that's one of the big reasons. Also, I wasn't seeing any substantial growth over on Twitch, and it just, So anyway, Tyler is here. Zero Linux, Andy Sawyer joining from the UK. Love that. Glenn Johnson, how you doing? Partham, happy Saturday to you. Tyler, being from Syracuse, New York. I know some other people kind of in that neck of the woods. That is my Nightbot, so that's fine. That doesn't matter. So quick thing, as we're jumping into this, how's the audio? The reason I ask is I'm using a wireless microphone. I got the Lark M2 wireless setup going here, and doing local testing for it. I really like how it sounds, but this is the first live stream with it. Audio sounds good, clear, awesome. Thanks, Collins, appreciate that. Cheyenne also confirming, Glenn Johnson confirming, thank you guys so much. This is going to super help me for a number of reasons. It will allow me to but I've got my overhead mic here. I've got another mic back here. I've got my interface over here. I can kind of decommission some of that and just use the little wireless system. And it's like, this is what you're hearing me on. It came with a 2-set. This is the microphone, right? There's also this adapter to go on, on my camera. And that sort of thing. And then there's also, so this is connected via USB-C. There's one more adapter that connects via Lightning. So lots and lots of options for a really great price. They're not sponsoring me at all, but I've got a different Holyland that I kind of liked. And in fact, it's right here, right? That's right there. And it's fine, but I like this better. So first test run with it in a live capacity. So thank you guys for confirming. Zero Linux says, how was your birthday? Did the wife hear the song? She did. It was good. We actually listened to the song on the way to taking the kid into his morning thing in my car. For those of you who don't know, Zero Linux sent me a birthday song for my birthday that was Thursday. He sent it over in Discord. Enough of just the right frequencies to make the hairs in my ears rattle. So pretty good stuff. Good. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. That was a good time. So yeah, everything going well there. Podbot K32 says hello from Russia. That's cool. Thank you for joining. Sven from Norway. I was thinking about it yesterday a little bit, and I wasn't sure what to talk about in the live stream today. So I'm always looking for new apps, but one of my biggest issues with this time of year, with the mid to late, or midsummer, almost early summer to early fall, developers are kind of developers are busy, right? They're not out running around. They're out running around and they're not writing a lot of code, which I don't blame them. I genuinely don't. But as somebody who wants to review new apps that they would be producing, it really hinders what's available, right? Which is why I've got a couple of ideas for some new, a new video that I'm going to do. So that's coming up soon. I'm working on that. I put out a post on the channel as well as over on Discord as well. Sorry, I'm getting notification. Oh, it's fine. Yeah. So I've got an idea for a video that I want to do. I may be changing things up a little bit for a while, just so I can kind of keep you guys entertained or informed or something, while still continuing to make the content I want to make. So yeah. Sven says, belated happy birthday. Hope your day was filled with love and joy. Wishing you an amazing day. Thank you so much. Yeah, we took the kid in to do his thing that morning, and then we went shopping. I've got my wife is super into plants, and I kind of adopted one of her plants. It's a white knight, which is a type of philodendron. It's weird that I even know that. Anyway, so it's like a green leafy plant. It's got a lot of huge white spots on the leaves. Love the plant. It's a lot of fun. But we tried something different with it when we replanted it a while back. And we've got it kind of leaning sideways in almost a bonsai tree kind of way. And I've been messing with it, and it's really taken off. It's doing really well. But now we're looking for a new pot for it. And I'm looking for a really specific type of pot to replant it in. So we went and looked for one of those. And then we went to dinner. That was fun. We ate at a new place, or new to us anyway. Really good food, really good drinks. Very eclectic, which I kind of dug. And then after that, we went to one of the local breweries, and we split a pitcher of beer, and we got some elote and chips to eat, and we played some pool, and it was a good time. So yeah, birthday was good. Birthday was really good. So let's see, audio. Okay, that's that, and there's that. Zero says the lyrics were by you. That's really cool. And you'll be streaming later. I don't know if I'm going to be around. Like, I'm only going to be here for a couple of hours, maybe. I've got a delivery that's out right now. Luckily, the wife's in there to sign for it as necessary. But I got a package delivered yesterday. I need to make content about a couple of other things over here. I need to make content. Lots of hardware content incoming. Just so you guys are aware. Let's see. Colin says, I'm currently arguing with Pulse to try to get it to use Godify as a webhook. Pulse sounds familiar. Oops, jeez. Pulse self-hosted. Project, no. Is it the project manager? No, is it the monitor? Or the responsive monitoring app? I'm guessing it's the responsive monitoring app. I'm guessing it's this one. Oh, I gotcha. So Pulse. Gosh, it looks familiar. I feel like, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let you do that, and then we'll talk about it, and you can educate me. So, Sven says, looking forward to see a photo. Oh, of what? About the plant? I'm happy to share a picture of the plant. I think I've got one, if that's what you're talking about. But I'm not sure what else it might be. Did I even get a good picture of it? That's not it. No. Yeah. Glenn says, got a jet driving from Denver to Utah. That's a drive. Enjoy that. Be safe. Drivers are dumb. I say that as one. Jason Budney says, hello. Glad to have you here. How old am I now? I just turned 44. I just turned 44, and that's weird. That's so weird. Wow, I don't have that. Yeah, I don't feel 44, but very much I feel 55 and 23 all at once. It's the weirdest thing. So I'm getting signed into something here, so that I can pull this up. I need that, because two-factor authentication is super, super important. If you're not using two-factor authentication, you should be. Oh, that's not right. Oh, geez, no, sign in. There we go. With 1 second left. I remember when I was 44, I think. Yeah, probably the same way that I remember that I was 34, 10. Like, I don't know, man. It's the numbers. The numbers are starting to not mean anything anymore. It is, it wasn't. It was only. It was only a couple of weeks ago that I was in my 20s. Right. So, age is a social construct. I kind of agree with that, actually. In case you were wondering, because I may have misinterpreted, this is the white knight that I was talking about. And then I think I've got, that's a different picture of it, different angle of it. But like the roots actually start over here and go across the full length here and then go up. And we've got a couple of new, like this leaf hasn't popped yet, but there's one there. But yeah, that's a white knight. And I'm really, really happy with it. I actually took that photo for another app that I'm currently working on a video for, just making sure that I fully understand all of the stuff going on in there before I release the video. So, let's see. Cheyenne says I was 44 last year. Jason Budney says I know the feeling at 48, with not perfect health since day one. Dude, that sucks. That sucks. Bad health is a real rough time. I was in perfect health until 2016. Like I'd never really been to the doctor other than having an injury when I was like little things here and there, but like, but nothing major. And then 2016, 34 years old, hospitalized for 6 months. It was garbage. I hated it. And since then, now for the rest of my life, I'm not in great health. Like I'm doing better and I'm working on certain things, but yeah, so Pop says, have you played around with Open Web UI yet? Yeah, I've actually got Open Web UI installed. The problem is that I shut down my Olama instance. So, it's there. I played with it a bit. It was fine. But I'm not, I don't know, like the only thing I've really wanted, like I did Nighthawk and Collins had me going on some image generator for a while. And then I had Olama set up for my self-hosted chatbot thing with this kind of the Google Home replacement device. And then I got sidetracked with other stuff, and I just haven't dealt with it in a long time. Yes, what's the plan? Had some problems in chat. Oh, well, I'm glad everything's working for you. I'm glad you got the chat thing sorted. That's good. Thomas says, how's the new channel coming? It's not. Like, I still very much want to do it. But I've been sidetracked with life, the universe, and everything. I've been having issues, actually, with my health. But as it turned out, they were self-inflicted issues. So we'll talk about this for a little bit, and then we'll get into why we're actually here with regards to the self-hosting stuff, right? So January, I think it was January 2nd, I went to a doctor's appointment. I got on the scale, 258, really unhappy about that. Was chatting with the doctor about it, about some of the difficulties that I face with getting exercise outside the home. And she's like, well, you could try this, or this. And I'm like, those are really good examples of things I could be doing. You're right. So I got a treadmill to go under my desk, the one in there. Both of my desks are standing desks. Anyway, since then I've been walking almost every day. And I changed up my diet drastically, going into a calorie deficit. And like my meals are very structured, which sounds awful, but I really like all of the things in the structure. And if I don't like something, I can change it. So between July 2nd and August 15th, I lost 12 pounds using this method. And I knew that there was going to be an initial drastic drop, and then there would be a slower, it would not necessarily plateau, but the slope wouldn't slope as hard, right? And shortly after I started doing these things, I started getting dizzy spells, which didn't make sense because I was eating 3 meals a day, and it didn't make sense because I was doing the things I was supposed to be doing, and now I'm suffering for it. I'm like, what's going on? I was actually getting ready to write an email to my doctor, and I was like, hey. I asked my wife if she would be willing to listen to it, just to make sure I was being honest, that I wasn't trying to BS myself. So I read it to her, and she's like, okay, but what is with this? What is your new calorie count? What calories are you bringing in on a daily basis, and what are you supposed to have for your age, your size, your gender, those sorts of things? And she was deliberately playing me so that I would actually do the research myself, because she could easily have just told me. But I work better if I discover the information for myself. So I went through item by item of everything I eat every day, and was like, okay, well, I eat this much of this and this much of this and this much of this, and I know that I don't actually weigh anything, so it's okay, based on this, I'm gonna bump it up 50, 100 calories based on whatever it is. So even doing that, I realized that my calorie intake was less than 1,800, fewer than 1,800 calories per day. And for somebody of my height, my gender, my age, my weight, all of those things, to maintain my weight, I should be at 2,600 calories a day, which I'm not comfortable with. That's too many. But for a healthy weight loss, I should be at 2,200 calories based on all of the other factors. And I was at 1,800. So I had to add some stuff. So I've been trying to work through some of that, but the reason I bring any of that up is the dizzy spells were happening frequently enough that it was causing me to not be able to focus well. That's kind of why I haven't been doing anything with the new channel yet, though I really want to. So there you go. Pop says if you set up Open Router on it, you can basically query every single AI model going. That's interesting. I'm not super into the AI stuff. I use it for certain things. The problem is it's not artificial intelligence. It's programmatic regurgitation. It's been programmed to respond in certain ways based on criteria that it's not intelligent. It's just regurgitating information that it was trained on. And because it's trying to be intelligent based on how it was programmed, it looks like it has a personality. Some of them can pass a Turing test, but so many of them, most of them, I would say almost all of them, are just regurgitating things that it was programmed to regurgitate. And that's why we've got different models, so that we want something regurgitated one way, we can pick regurgitation model 1, or if we want it regurgitated a different way, we can pick regurgitation model number 2. And so it's programmatic. It's not artificial intelligence. And while I use it to help me with scripts, while I use it to help me with with, you know, engaging titles for my videos, or helping me come up with video descriptions that are more SEO targeted. I'm not somebody who spends a lot of my time digging through AI models and that sort of thing. It's just, we're a long way, I think, from actual artificial intelligence. Like we can use AI for logic things, and like kind of a, if this happens, then tell AI, and then AI can then decide between a set of factors what to do next. But even that is still programmatic. So Thomas says, I wish there was a way to add Olama to searching and add it as a local replacement for something. I think you can do it backwards. I think you can add searching as a search engine to Open Web UI. I've never got it to work though. So, but I think it's possible to go that route. Yeah, there you go. I actually hadn't read that, but yeah, Pop just confirmed what I was saying there. Yep. Intermittent fasting, yeah, I fast from like 8 o'clock at night until about 6 o'clock in the morning. Like it's not deliberate, but like I get up in the morning, and over the last week I've got these Kodiak protein bowls. I have 2 of those. Then I do my walk. Then I drink like 24 ounces of water. Then I have breakfast, and then I may have a snack at some point after that. And then I have lunch. Again, these are all fairly determined how my day is going to go. And then in the afternoon, I have a couple of hard-boiled eggs. And then I have dinner. And then for dessert, I might have some like mango, some dried mango, like fruit leather kind of thing, or something like that. But I've been very careful about how late I eat and what I eat at what part of the day. So I managed to monitor my calorie intake so that I don't calorie dump at the end of the day like I used to do. I used to be really bad. I'd go all day without eating, and then I'd hit 2,500 calories at 9 o'clock at night, and then go to bed, right? And that was a huge problem for me. So I am doing intermittent fasting between like 8 o'clock at night and like 6 o'clock in the morning, roughly. So, you know, like 10 hours a day. I space my meals out very specifically the way I do it. And yeah, like even because like the 2 protein bowls that I have in the morning, and then I have kind of a dense breakfast that's about 400 calories, and then lunch is about 500 to 600 calories. And then a snack is a couple hundred calories. And like I'm very careful about spreading things out, so I'm never actually hungry. Even between 8 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm never actually hungry. So, Jason says, I still want to get into AI basically to help with web search, finding and fixing issues with homelab stuff. Yeah, there's absolutely use cases for that. I used it to help me do some research yesterday for an upcoming project that I'm working on. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not, like, I see people with, you know, like a dozen graphics cards and all of this stuff. And it's like, I am self-hosting AI. And I'm like, yeah, you are technically, but unless you're building your own LLMs, you're not doing anything that anybody else isn't doing. Right, and it's not to say that you're not doing something creative with it, but it's just without all of the right models in place and toggling between them constantly and all of this, it just, I don't know. I don't necessarily see the point in doing a huge self-hosted AI thing. But again, that's me, and again, that's part of the reason I love self-hosting is that we can all do it very, very differently. We can all add the things to our self-hosted setup that works best for us, what we want to do, what we need it for, that kind of thing. And that's really what I love about self-hosting. Yeah, Joe Bob is 100% right. I was actually watching something on that the other day. He said it's pattern recognition and the next character prediction. They proved recently that it was with math. Yeah, like it actually can't solve 2 plus 2. Like it can't do math because it's not predictive. Like math is deterministic or something, you know what I mean? But like it can't guess what 2 plus 2 is. It can know it, but only if it's got the right LLM attached to it. So have you cheated? Have you considered cheating with Ozempics? Yeah, I have. And my insurance won't cover it. And if my insurance doesn't cover it, it's like $1,200 a month. Also, I have to be careful with that kind of stuff because of my very, very long list of medical conditions. And it's not, that is the story of my life for the last 10 years, is because of my list of medical conditions. Like I can't take ibuprofen, right? Like I can't have green tea. I have to watch how much vitamin K I get. There's all of these different things that I have to be very conscious of throughout my day. Because of it could have a contraindication to one of my medical conditions or on one of my medicines. And it sucks. I hate it. Like it has definitely caused me some depressive issues. Like it's absolutely wrecked me some days because like one of my favorite vegetables is broccoli and I can't have it. My wife used to do this roasted broccoli thing that was like drizzled in like olive oil and shredded Parmesan cheese. So good. It was literally, I could eat it literally every day. I loved it that much. And I can't have broccoli. I can't have kale. I can't have basically anything with too much vitamin K because it'll mess with my blood thinners because I've got a repeated history of blood clots. So now I'm blood thinners for the rest of my life. So I'm constantly shifting things around because as I lose more weight, I will require a lower dose of blood thinners. So it's this constant trying to reconfigure my diet primarily at this point because I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to be active, I'm trying to do all of the right things, but I have to make sure that the foods that I'm eating aren't contraindicative to my meds, and it's stupid and I hate it, but I'm getting through it, you know, and it's why I've picked the things that I've picked that are kind of part of my regimented diet, because I can have them. And because I like them, and I can tweak. I can make a big dish of this base, which is rice, quinoa, and lentils, and I can I can make a big dish of that, but then top it differently, and I can mix different things in it, but I can have one base for say a week's worth of eating and just manipulate it a little bit each day to get something different, but still get all of the protein and fiber and all of the benefits of everything that are tied into that. So I've been very deliberate about the steps that I've taken over the past since July 2nd, really. I've been very deliberate about the choices that I've made as a result of every little nuanced thing about my health setup. So, look at some of the stuff I've been Azadi. I'm not sure who that is. Colin says, I've been using AI almost as a personal assistant, helping with organization models, creating Obsidian templates, summarizing notes. That's cool. You can hear that? Are you serious? Wow. Sorry, Colin says, wow, your mic is so good. I just heard you clearly, just super clearly heard you wipe your mouse with your hand. Wow. So I have noise cancellation turned off presently because I realized that I also had a limiter thing in my streaming app. So maybe I tell you what, let me do this. I'm gonna push this button over here. There we go. So that's with noise cancellation turned on. Noise cancellation is now currently on. So I don't know how much that's going to actually affect the audio quality. So I'd be curious to know from you guys if it changed at all right there. Ruslan Gonzalez says it would be great that your body could produce some Prometheus metrics based on what you eat in terms of calories and other measurements, so it could all be controlled over. Dude, wouldn't that be amazing? Like, I'm actually excited about the idea of cybernetics. Like, if I could get implants to help me with those things, I would 1,000% sign up for it. 1,000%. I would love to do something like that. Have you tried Intel AI playgrounds for Intel GPUs? I've not. I've got an ARC. This is my Intel GPU. It's got 4 gigs of RAM and wouldn't be good for AI. And I don't know, they probably got something online, but I haven't, no. Yeah, GPL1 stuff isn't covered by most insurance anymore. Yeah. We've mostly been talking about the new microphone setup that I got, that's just right there, and me giving excuses about why I haven't done anything much on the new channel as a result of health stuff. Like, nothing terrible, just health stuff. My wife is going through it, and she found a place that does it. The injections at $80 a shot. Honestly, man, that's not bad. $80 a shot's not bad compared to, again, the $1,200 a month it was going to cost me. Yeah, be careful with Ozempic. It's a diabetes drug first and foremost. I take it as a type 2. I'm working. Also, the other problem that I have, I'm glad, Jason, that you brought that up, is that Ozempic is primarily a diabetic, is primarily developed for diabetics. And as a result of Ozempic having then turned into this is a miracle weight loss thing. And now anybody with a lot of money who wants to lose 10 pounds can do it like in a weekend. Now, for a long time anyway, there was a shortage of Ozempic. So the people who actually, so the people who actually needed it for their diabetes couldn't get it because there was a shortage, because of self-indulgent pricks who couldn't take the time to maybe not eat some carbs and go to the gym. And that was kind of one of the reasons I didn't want to go that route as well. I looked into it, but then I realized, okay, look here, fatty, quit with the nonsense eating and do something. And no, it's not as fast as doing the Ozempic thing, but it gives me a sense of accountability for what I'm doing. So yeah, like and so I'm really glad that Jason brought up the diabetic thing, because that was honestly one of my biggest complaints about it, was the people who actually needed it couldn't get it because of the shortage, because of self-indulgent pricks. So Pop says, so are you down now on the scales? I don't know. I got on the scale the other day. I was down about 15, but I try to not focus on the scale. I try to focus on my physical appearance and how I feel. I feel better. I'm more active. I'm more limber. I'm more able to like move around without thinking about it. That is my primary focus right now, is making sure I'm getting in the activity and how I feel. Because there's going to come a point at which I'm going to start replacing fat with muscle. And because muscle weighs more than fat, there's going to be a point at which I'm going to start gaining weight a little bit. And I don't want that to be discouraging, because even though I'm eating right and I'm not eating garbage and I'm exercising, I'm doing these things, there's going to come a point at which the scale's going to go the wrong way for a couple of weeks. And it's the wrong way in my head, not necessarily in real life. And I'm aware of that. So I'm trying to avoid the scale as much as I can. Because if I get on the scale and I realize I've gained 5 pounds, even knowing what the truth of the matter is, it'll screw with my head. Definitely changes the quality. It's good, just different sounding. It did change, not as clear, still good though. It removed all of the background noise. Ben Azadi on YouTube for Metabolism, Dr. Ben Bickman. Good stuff. Yeah, and I may take a look at that. So question, since I just finally caught up to the noise canceling thing, honest question, would you rather hear me dicking around over here on my computer, or would you prefer this audio quality? I am 100% on board either way. It's literally me pushing a button. So sound removal on or sound removal off, I'm good either way. Thomas says, I have an ARC A310 and I use Intel AI Playground for software, and it does work. It's a little slow, but it works. Don't think of it like a llama. Yeah. Colin says that's an excellent frame of mind. Thank you. Like I've struggled with it a lot. And it's spun me off in the past when I've tried to do the right thing, where it's like I'm doing the right thing and I'm gaining weight and then I just give up because what's the point? So I'm not even getting on the scale. So, like when I decided I was going to start doing this in July, I got on the scale and at the doctor's office, and I was like, okay, that's what the number says, and I don't like it. Well, when I went back mid-August and I got on the scale and I realized I was down, I was like, that's awesome. So the wife saw what was working, and she's like, and she's kind of been playing along, but she hasn't been as focused on it as I have, which is fine. And she's like, I would like to be able to keep track of my weight. Can we get one of the scales up and operational again, because they're battery operated? And I was like, cool, let's do that. So I replaced the batteries and I got on the scale just so I could see how far off it was from the doctor's scales. And I was like, there's a 3-pound variance there. And I was like, have at. And I got on it once since then, and I had dropped a couple more pounds, and that's all I needed to know. So sound removal on. Okay. Good enough for me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm working on a couple of video ideas in my head anyway. That's going to involve me kind of reconfiguring a few different things with regard to my home lab setup, my streaming setup. I'm going to kind of downsize a little bit here and there. But I'm waiting to hear back from one specific company. If I don't hear back from them soon, it'll be fine. Because I've got a backup plan. But yeah, so let's see. Pop says, I bought one of those N305 mini PC routers with a migrated Plex to that. It's crazy how well QuickSync functions for Plex transcoding. You're 100% right. The problem that I have, the reason I can't necessarily switch away from GPU transcoding is because our neighbors have access to my Plex because they're literally on my network. And sometimes if there's a bunch of streams going, it's nice to have that extra overhead. And I've got a friend in Utah who also watches sometimes. Desmond33 says, good morning. Just weighing in, pun intended. Lost 90 pounds in 8 months with one meal a day. Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. I don't need to lose 90 pounds and congratulations on that. That is honestly amazing. Like that's super impressive. That's like what, 11 pounds a month? That's bonkers. For me, that wouldn't be sustainable. Not with my mental health because of the type of person that I am. But like even dropping down to 70, like let's call it 1,800 calories a day was causing me to have lightheadedness and dizzy spells. It was affecting my ability to focus. Since I brought myself back up to closer to 2,000 calories, I'm still on a deficit, but I'm not having the dizzy spells and the lightheadedness. So I'm going to keep doing that for a while until my body kind of readjusts and I can kind of go from there. Mandy says, hey there, glad to have you here. Always happy to see familiar faces. The original Joe Boggs says, cut the carbs. Carbs are important. Our brains run on sugar. So I'm not going to completely cut carbs. I know that there are people that do that. I'm just not going to go that route. And I'm glad that it worked for you. That's awesome. Practical Jeremy with IT is here. It says, hey, sorry I'm late. Was on a tear recording videos to start September. That's awesome. That's really cool. I need to do more of that. One of the problems that I have is if I start recording a bunch of videos in advance, I hate sitting on them. I'm so garbage at just sitting on content. Even having it scheduled out, I did it for a while. I scheduled videos out weeks in advance. And it tore me up. I can't do it, but I genuinely admire people that can. Like I genuinely do. So, but yeah, I've got a couple of self-hosting videos, a couple of application videos I'm working on. I've got too many PCs sitting over here. that I've got a review on. I've got a cool new, and it's going to sound dumb, but it's a smart lock. I've talked about smart locks in the past. This one uses a whole new identification technology that I've never covered before. And I know it sounds kind of silly, but I'm excited about it. I think it's really neat. It's very futuristic in how it works. I just got it yesterday. I'm planning on installing it today just to test it out. So intermittent fasting is also good. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I fast from 8 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning. I just, my roommate's the same way, not enough calories causes nosebleeds. That makes sense. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to go into, I understand that our bodies also work on ketones. I get that, and it will burn fat differently. But our brains aren't just wired to work on ketones. Like they're just not. I know that works for some people. And that's fine. If that's the route you guys want to take, that's fine. It's not how I'm going to approach it. I appreciate the advice. I appreciate the concern. I'm glad that you guys are knowledgeable in how you want to handle your situations. I'm just not going to go into ketoacidosis in order to burn fat differently. It's not how my body works. Again, as I've stated multiple times, I have other medical conditions that require me to be very diligent about how I handle certain things with my body. If certain things start going wrong, it can do a chain reaction, and I could go back into a flare-up of my underlying condition, which would then put me back in the hospital for an extended period of time, and I don't want to do that. Again, I understand where you're coming from. What I'm saying is that's not how I want to approach my body. So if you guys want to go into ketoacidosis and burn ketones instead of using carbs and sugars and that sort of thing, that's perfectly fine for you. But harping on me about ketones isn't going to change my mind about ketones. I understand. It's not for me. Thank you. You're right. Exercise also helps. That's why I exercise every morning. I stated that earlier. So there you go. So I'm just done. I put Joe in timeout. Like if you're gonna get an attitude about if you're gonna have a snarky attitude about it, I just don't want to hear it. So yeah, Mandy, thank you. That's where I was headed next. So there were some things in the new self-host newsletter that I thought were interesting. If I can find it over here, let me go over to there. Oh, that was the right one. Weird. Didn't realize I was already there. So let's jump over to there. There we go. Clicksby Scott says, good morning from the Cook Islands. That's really cool. I don't know that I'm aware of anybody who's ever been here from the Cook Islands before. That's really neat. So let's talk about this. There was some stuff in here that I thought was interesting. And it's not that I don't find the stuff I'm scrolling past interesting. It's just there was some stuff farther down that I found interesting. Oh, also, yeah, this is interesting, and I think we should talk about this for a minute. So we've got the GitHub container repository, which is ghcr.io. Yeah, Rain Buckingham, you're right. Thank you. Mental says, good afternoon from Sweden. Glad to have you here, man. So ghcr.io is our typical GitHub container repository. However, if you mistype it, bad things can happen. A simple typo of ghcr.io to ghrc.io would normally be a small goof. You'd typically get a 404 or similar error. Finally, work out for the issue, fix it, move along. But in this case, that typo appears to be doing something very malicious, which is stealing GitHub credentials. So be aware of this. The link to this self-host newsletter is in the video description. But if you want to specifically, that's fine. We'll give them credit there. If you want to take a look at this, there is what we're looking at right here. So somebody has done one of those domain squatting things where they're finding domains that could be easily mistyped, and they're using it for malicious intent is basically what they're getting at here. Yeah, so what is GHCR or GHCR.io, which I said is the GitHub Container Repository. And so PopUp says there's an ad blocker list which blocks all those similar typo-based domains, which is great unless you've got your server either outside your network or you've got your server's DNS pointed to something else, which I think is very common. And I'm not saying it's everybody, and if that works for you, then do that. That's a great security tip. But yeah, it's a container repository for GitHub, right? But the concerning part comes when looking at the API. Basically, it's looking for the GitHub Container Repository token in your browser if you happen to fat finger that URL. So be very, very careful about that. I'm glad that Brandon Mitchell talked about this. I think it's super, super important. Sven says, is it intentional? There's no stream on Twitch. It is. It is absolutely intentional. And I know it's not ideal for some people, but it's because it's a lot of extra effort on my part with next to no growth on their platform. And all of the extra effort I tried for like 7.5 months, almost 8 months or whatever, to dual stream using an app that I was using specifically so I could dual stream. And it was just causing, like I said, it was a lot of extra effort for no reward. So that's why. I did this last week. I talked about it the week before. But yeah, for right now, it's not worth the extra headache for me. And I apologize if that's not convenient for you guys. But it was a lot of extra stuff in my brain to deal with. Let's see. So we've got some software updates for AirTrail, which is flight tracking. I've always thought the idea of flight tracking was kind of interesting, but it was never for me. I didn't care enough. Just like a lot of people don't care about our hobbies, right? Audio Bookshelf has added chapter editing tools and bulk import. And bulk import, book libraries, sort options. That's cool. Base row, no load code. I'm getting burnt out on these. Not necessarily base row. Like I don't want to talk about any specific thing, but because we're seeing so much vibe coding lately, we're seeing a lot of repetitive apps. We're seeing a lot of the same app rebuilt over and over and over and over and over in a vibe coded method, which is a whole issue in my opinion. Book lore, Kobo integration. I don't know what any of those words mean. I mean, you know what I mean. ChartDB, which is for database diagrams. They've updated some stuff there. Homebox has got an update. So for barcode product fetching, Unix systemd, socket listening, image size plugin, hardened Docker image, which is experimental, which I think is great that they're doing that. Especially with this Homebox is going to be in an upcoming video. I've talked about Homebox in the past, but I've got an interesting idea. Again, if you were in Discord or you saw my my post about or my post over on the YouTube channel, my YouTube posts area, you might have a clue. Image kiosk with a weather forecast display. That's kind of cool. InvestBrain, multi-currency support, new market data providers, and MySQL support was deprecated. I wonder if they went with like a MariaDB thing. Thomas W. says, I used flight tracking when I was a limo driver for airport pickups. That makes a lot of sense because then you could get a better idea if a plane was going to be delayed, where they were specifically. That's really neat. Also, limo driving sounds kind of fun. I think I've only been in a limo once and it was privately owned. and I should expand on that. The private limo that I was in was one that had been decommissioned, and some dude that lived in the same small town as me bought it. It was old. It was falling apart. It was just like a really old, stretched caddy, basically, that should have been in the salvage yard. It shouldn't have been on the road. So it wasn't quite as glamorous as it sounded there for a second. Komodo now has the ability to configure and edit config stacks in the UI with syntax highlighting. That's very cool. And there's new system stats. I really need to make a dedicated video about Komodo. We did a live stream on it a few months ago where I was just kind of taking a blind look at it. But I definitely need to do a dedicated video on that. Steven says, I haven't gotten Komodo to work for me after initial setup. Login just goes to a blank screen. Logs show nothing. And doesn't seem anyone else is having that issue. That's weird. That's weird. I don't know. I had it working. I think we even demonstrated it working. I had it set up on a VPS. Oh yeah, no worries, man. But I'm curious about it because like when I was testing it, the issue that I had with it is if you had, like if you were using Cloudflare as your DNS provider, and you had, if you had caching turned on, it would obfuscate your IP, which then made SSL renewal more difficult. Apparently there's a way to do it via DNS. And I've been meaning to ask Nighthawk about that for like 6 months, and I've just never done it. So I need to give Komodo another look, just because I think it's cool based on what I experienced with it. Limos don't look fun to drive. So much situational awareness needed all the time. My favorite cars to drive are tiny ones that fit almost anywhere. Smart cars, minis, that sort of thing. Yeah, dude, I have a very similar take on that. Like, I love my car. I drive a 2010 Kia Forte, which sounds lame, but I love it. Other than the transmission issues, both of the Kia Fortes I've had different. One was a 2012. This one's a 2010. The first one I had was an automatic. This one's a manual. Both cars had crap transmissions. Honestly, my dream car is a Mini. I would love to get a Mini Cooper that's got the Clubman, that's got like the doors that open on the back, the 4-door model. I've wanted one of those for so long. Mateus says, hello, Professor Alex from Brazil. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure, Mateus, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, but glad to have you from Brazil. Notice a lot of stuff is deprecated for MySQL for something else. I have noticed some of that as well. I think it's a compatibility thing. Why are so many apps dropping support for MySQL? Okay, well, this is, I mean, kind of what I was talking about. I had it on the right thing anyway. Numerous applications are dropping or decreasing support for MySQL due to a shift towards more advanced, flexible, and scalable alternatives, particularly PostgreSQL. Developers are also concerned about Oracle's stewardship of MySQL, which has driven some projects towards more open community-led alternatives. So Postgres is interesting. I've seen a big shift into MariaDB, but now that I'm reading this, I have seen more Postgres stuff popping up. So yeah, I think it's the Oracle effect, like they're saying right there. So that's interesting. Nighthawk says, hello, sorry a bit late. No worries, man. Stuff happens. Yeah, we were just talking about you. Mini Coopers. Dude, I like the older Mini Coopers. The new Mini Coopers are huge. I like the older Mini Coopers, or what Mighty Car Mods did with their Mini Cooper. Oops. Come on, Mighty Car Mods Mini Cooper swap. I can find images of it. Yeah. I just want the image though. Damn. Man. Second to let me, it's not, there it is. Yeah. So they put this, so they've got this Mini Cooper, this old one, right, with a Honda Type R B16B in it. That thing rips. Looks so much fun. Like, that would be awesome. But again, like I said, I want one of the four-door ones, the Clubman Sports, the little Clubman Sports. I saw one the other day that I really liked, but it was brown. I didn't like that. Oh, let's see what else we got here. I drove a stretched limo, a Lincoln limo in New York a lot. It was a pain. In New York City, I believe that. Jan, thank you for the donated membership. That was really nice of you. I appreciate that. Mini is no longer Mini, right? And I've noticed that as well. The newer ones are getting big, and it makes me a little bit sad. Steven says, I worked in an Italian job came out. Dude, it was honestly the Italian job that got me interested in minis. Like, that's an honest thing. It's like putting an LS1 in a bag. Kinda. That was the point too. I always think of the Italian job when I see a Mini. Yeah. The only thing I worry about is that they're very, very little safety when you get into a collision. That's true. Like, and that's very true with the older ones, not so much with some of the newisher ones. Colin says, I love that movie. Yeah, big fan of that movie. Big fan of that movie. So, yeah, would love to get a late 90s, early 2000s Mini. Again, the Clubman Sport, the four-door with the dual doors on the back. So yeah, definitely I need to take another look at Komodo once I figure out how to do the DNS SSL thing. Nighthawk says, I wanted a Scion IQ and friends of mine wanted to get one, put it on bags and call Lord IQ. Dude, I actually really liked the Scions for a while, but they were tuner Toyotas. So, let's see. Link Warden has new drag and drop support, or you can upload from single file extension. That's kind of cool. Perhaps make a video on Pelican Panel, which is a fork of Pterodactyl. I tried multiple times to deploy Pterodactyl and wings and all of its accessories, and I could never get it to work. I just couldn't. I might take a look at Pelican. So Pop says, sorry, what was the DNS SSL thing you were talking about? So basically, I know a lot of people will use Cloudflare, not for the tunnels, but for, sorry, I'm reading Steven Saunders' comment about PT Cruisers there. I agree with that one. But so the thing about the SSL thing I was talking about with Komodo is that a lot of people use Cloudflare for their DNS, basically for their DNS management, right? You can run your traffic through their DNS for an added level of protection from threats and that sort of thing, but it will also obfuscate your IP address. So if somebody pings your domain name, if they find it, they won't find your home or your server's IP address. They will find a Cloudflare IP address, right? Everything still runs through all of your stuff. You can even use it for like Nginx Proxy Manager or Komodo or whatever the case happens to be. The problem there is when you proxy your DNS, your stuff through their DNS, and it swaps out your IP address for one of theirs, renewing your SSL then becomes more difficult. There are ways, like with Nginx Proxy Manager and Komodo and Traffic and others, to set up a DNS setting that will check DNS settings rather than look for your IP address. So that's what I was talking about. I've just never. I think I did it successfully once, but it was so long ago I don't remember. And when I was doing the live stream about Komodo, I ran into issues with it, and Nighthawk said that he could help me with it, and then I never hit him up for that. So that was my doing, not his. So at some point, I need to pick Nighthawk's brain about that a little bit, just for the sake of just for the sake of making sure that I can show people how to do that in the video so that they can obfuscate their IP address while using, proxy DNS through something like Cloudflare. Pop-up says, okay, I've never used Komodo, but I use Traffic with Let's Encrypt and do the DNS challenge plus Cloudflare proxy. Yeah, no, and that's what I've got to figure out. I think I did it once years ago, and then I switched to Cloudflare tunnels after that, and it escaped me, and I don't remember how to do it. I need to look more into it. Craig is here, says, hey guys, glad to have you here, Craig. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. We've got Lunalytics. Lunalytics sounds familiar. Open source monitoring tool built with Node.js. What is this? Open source monitoring tool built with Node.js and React. Uptime monitor for HTTP, TCP, ping, JSON. Interesting. Have we talked about Lunalytics? I don't think we have. Maybe I should look at that one too. And this is one of those where I get a little concerned. I mean, maybe not as much with this one. The reason that I sometimes have concern with these. Let's scroll all the way back. Right, July 6th. Interesting. Okay. July 6th was the first release. And then July 13th, July 19th. And then there was a big pause. Yeah, I thought so. Lunalytics seemed familiar. I don't know that I ever made any content about it though. I think I was just kind of messing with it in the behind the scenes times. I'm gonna pop over to here real quick. All right, he's good. Luna, yeah, and I did never do a video about it, but I felt like it was something that it felt familiar, right? So definitely worth looking at, I think. Adita, yeah, Aditya, I'm sure I screwed that up. Thank you for watching the content, getting involved in the community, man. That's awesome. At what point should you consider getting a used server? What are the prospects and consequences? So, I mean, it's all about. I mean, there's a lot of things you got to consider. I probably wouldn't do a used server. If it was older than 8th gen Intel, basically at that point or older, just because they're not as efficient. Anything newer than that should be fine. I mean, as long as everything works, I don't see a problem with it. Like, make sure that the power supply looks good, operates well. Make sure you can afford not only the hardware, but also the power to run it. Like, people do it all of the time. Like, if you look at Reddit, man, people talking about all kinds of old hardware that they picked up from somewhere dirt cheap that just works. And so I would absolutely take a look at doing something like that. If I wasn't in a very privileged position. That said, I absolutely have done that now that I think about it. Let me find it, because I actually did a video on it a while back. Man, I'll never find it. Where I actually did a video on buying old refurbished stuff versus like an old refurbished workstation or an old decommissioned workstation from like an office building versus using a Raspberry Pi. They're going to cost the same amount of money, but they're going to be more powerful. They'll be more power hungry, but they will be more usable in the grand scheme of things. So I actually did a video about that at one point. You mentioned, did you mention what kind of microphone you have? The one with the toggle for the noise cancellation, on the market for one. Yeah. I talked about it briefly, but I'll grab it and share it. Am I logged in? I am. Outstanding. That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna share an affiliate link, right? I'm gonna be that guy here. This is the microphone. That's the microphone. It's the Holy Land Lark M2, and it's great. I love it. And I say that literally. This is the first time I've used it. Is this live stream? Vitrol. Never planned on having a home server, but once I had upgraded my PC, I noticed I had my old PC, and that's what I'm doing. It's nice having your own hardware. Don't have to pay OVH. Dude, 100%. The first server I built was exactly that. Like in 2019, I built new computers for my wife and I. My wife and me. My wife and me is technically the right way to say that. And I had an old PC laying around, and I was like, let's do something with it. And I made a Plex server out of it. Older HP Elite Desk i7 800 G2s are okay. Yep. I thought that's what I was getting, actually, Joe Blogs, when I ordered mine, and then I realized I ordered the dumber one that was much bigger, and I ordered 3 of them, which I hated. But it was my bad. I didn't pay attention. So I didn't get the small ones like I wanted, which was disappointing. The small N100 boxes are also great. They're great for certain things. They're absolutely great for certain things. One of the big issues with them, one of the big issues that I have with the N100 mini PCs is their lack of PCI lanes. And like last week, we talked briefly about me doing something again with this K100, which is great, except that the N100 only has like 4 PCI lanes, and an NVMe drive will use like half of those individually. So you got to balance what your workload is and what you're plugging into it with how many PCI lanes your processor has. And that was something we talked about a little bit last week. And I think we've brought up the PCI lane thing in the past as well. But N100 boxes are great for certain things. I'll absolutely give you that. Lychee, I think I did a video on Lychee at some point. Lychee, I don't know. I feel like I did a video on that at some point. Pangolin, let's see, they've added some stuff here. So Media Manager, that's our stuff I can't talk about. Pangolin's great. I'm actually using Pangolin for some stuff. Self-hosted managed mode, auto redirect IDP on per resource basis, setup token requirements, updated integration API port. Interesting. N100 is good for a Docker machine, but not for Proxmox, right? It's limiting, agreed. Yeah, the thing that they suffer most for is the lack of NVMe speeds, but are still faster than a 2.5-inch SATA. Yeah, that's fair. Oh, there you go. Pop-up says that's why I went with the N305 instead of the N100. The thing is, like, I don't know. I think the N305 is like a 20 or 25 watt. N305 power. Typical TDP, 15 watts, but can draw 27 or 28 watts. So, dude, I agree that the naming makes no sense. It makes no sense. 4 cores, 4 threads, 12 watts. I agree. I have talked about Navidrome on the channel. I made a video about it years ago. I'd have to find it though. I actually really liked Navidrome. I thought it was kind of cool. Navidrome. Yeah, I talked about it back January of 2022. Holy cow. Navidrome. Here, I'll share it. Oops, come on. Navidrome. There you go. N305 is likened to a slightly cut down i3. Yeah. Try to grab mini PCs. Have 1 SSD and 1 NVMe support. Idles at the same Nice. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, the N305's got more overhead available to it. It isn't power restricted to like, with the N100 is set to like what, 12 watts or something. Oops. N100. How powerful? Power consumption. That's what I want. 5 watts at idle, 22 to 23 watts. So you get an extra like 20% with the 305 under heavy load, it looks like. Port tracker. I think we looked at this recently in a live stream. Port tracker. Recipe Wrangler. John DeGray says you should be able to talk about the R apps. You don't discuss downloading media. Yeah, you should also be able to talk about self-hosting media servers without running into issues. But can't. Too many people have gotten community guideline strikes. Some of them have been repealed. But some people are getting community guideline strikes for just talking about Plex, showing how to set up Plex, why Plex is a good replacement for Apple TV, and getting hit with community guideline strikes for dangerous activities. So there's just certain things I completely avoid on here. I hate it. I genuinely hate how creators now have to basically walk on eggshells all of the time because the people, the moderators on YouTube don't have a fucking clue. So yeah. Recipe Wrangler added support for itemization like linking, sharing, visible settings. That's kind of cool. Tiki card filtering. It's a Kanban board. I don't think I've ever seen Tiki. Modern and free Kanban board app. Do we have? Oh my god. Oh geez, man. Do you know who Serve the Home is? Like I've never. Like I think we may have chatted a couple of times in comments somewhere, but I've never actually. I don't personally know Serve the Home. We've never actually exchanged emails or anything. That's Tiki, huh? All right. Oh, it's got light and dark mode. That's good. Glad to see that. That's good. Interesting. All right. My video got removed for just showing Cody. Yeah. It's so many things you got to be careful about. Heard M4 Mac Minis are crazy efficient, but I haven't experience. I don't have any Mac experience either. I would be interested in trying it for self-hosting. I know they're dumb cheap right now. Like the M1s are dumb cheap, like on eBay and stuff. But I've got so many other mini PCs and things I need to get ahead of as far as reviews. But yeah, have you got a video taken down for mentioning YouTube? TLDR. John DeGray says, have you got a video taken down for mentioning YouTube TLDR? I did a video a while back, last year, I think. About like the state of things. In fact, I think maybe I can do it this way. Apple is the devil. Gosh, what was it? TV Tech. I'm only doing it this way because and seeing like these have all been fine, which I'm kind of surprised by. But there was man, I can't think of. I'm actually have to go to my channel because I can't. I feel kind of like a jerk here. YouTube.com/VTechYT. It was. I know. I remember. Yeah, like this. So yeah, something has to change. I did a video on this. This was. Gosh, when was this? It was. Oh god, this was. Jeez. This was December of 2023, rather. And I'm not the only one that had those issues. And they actually reached out and asked if they could talk to me about some stuff. and yeah, like there's no consistency to there's no consistency to what's allowed and what's not. And that's my issue, is that I got a community guideline strike for something that I probably should have got a community guideline strike for. But I've had other videos removed for things I shouldn't have had a community guideline strike for. Other creators have had the same issue, like you can see here. And it's not worth taking the risk, because of the people who are making the decisions don't understand what's being talked about. They hear certain buzzwords or certain keywords and they're just, oh, this is bad. Strike for you. And there's nothing you can do about it, because more often than not, when you contest those, they immediately reject them. So it's often not worth having those conversations on here. I've thought about putting them other places. I don't know. So, upvote RSS, additional AI summarizer options. I guess I don't know what upvote RSS is. Generate rich SSA feeds from Reddit, Hacker News, Lemmy, and Ben and more. Huh. Interesting. Can you try Snap URL shortener? Snap shortener. You're right, John. There's really not a great place to talk about any of this kind of stuff. And it's super unfortunate. Man, I feel like it should be required that if you're going to have a self-hosted app, that you put images in your GitHub repository. Like, I don't know what's going to happen if I click this, right? Probably nothing bad. It's got 312 stars. I feel like something would have been said, but like, put it here somewhere that I trust. Like, I can take a look at the Docker Compose and at least get an idea of what it's going to look like. Okay, so it's going to run the image test. No, what? Their Docker Compose is garbage based on what I'm seeing here. That's not the image. That's not the Docker image. Aditya, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. Like, this isn't a Docker Compose. Like, I mean, obviously it is, but if they can't even put Aditya, this is my day job. This is it, man. This is what I do. I make content. I'm also on permanent medical disability, so that supplements. But I would like to think this looks interesting. But if they can't be bothered to actually put their Docker image in there, Ben, you're right. You are absolutely right. There are no shortage of open source projects to review and check out. The problem that I have, and I am talking specifically here to Ben. The problem that I have, Ben, is you very often find them before I do, and I feel like a jerk if I copy a topic that you've just copied. Like you often, like you'll find something and make a video about it. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that'd be great. But then I feel like a jerk if I make a video about something you just made a video about. Like, so that's honestly why you got so many videos I've never covered. So maybe we should talk. Cause like, obviously I've got a bigger channel and it's because I've been at it longer, right? And I feel like I'm gonna like unintentionally like smash your video, and I don't want to do that, right? I 100% don't want to look like that guy. So I very often will watch your content and think, man, I wish I had found that first, because you're very good at finding really cool projects early on. Right? Collab time's not a bad idea. Something there, because it sounds like we're both kind of skirting around each other, trying not to step on toes, and maybe we should just make it work. Synaptech, right? Yeah, but that's really funny. That's really funny. But you're right. There's a lot of stuff out there. But the problem that I've had in the past is I've made a piece of content. We've talked about this a little bit in the past too. Like, I made a piece of content about Cloudflare tunnels. Like, I was not the first necessarily, but I was one of the first people to see its benefit in the homelab, and I made a video about it. And then the video I made about it was garbage. So later I made another video about it, and that one was less garbage, but still garbage. Because in the first video, I missed a bunch of stuff. So the second video was just covering the stuff I had missed in the first video. So then I made a third video where I brought the first two videos together. And I released that, and it did pretty well. I expected that it would, and it was fine. But then like a week later, a creator with a much larger audience than I had, especially at the time, made a video about that same thing. And then because of the suggested videos from his video showed my video, they came to my video and were all up in my garbage talking about how I ripped him off and how dare I, just try to pile onto what he was doing. And I'm like, bro, look at the date of the video. My video came out like a week or even 2 weeks prior to his video. Also, I got 2 videos prior to this on the same topic that are like months ahead of my release that was still 2 weeks ahead of his release. So like, yeah, no, so I try to be very mindful of that. And it's one of the reasons that I don't watch, it's one of the reasons I don't watch a lot of other self-hosting creators, because I don't want to even unintentionally rip off, right? So I don't want to unintentionally rip off somebody else's content. When you're dealing with specific niches, it's going to happen, but I don't want to even accidentally do it. So like I will see what's being, I will watch certain creators, or I subscribe to certain creators even, so that I can keep tabs on what they're talking about, so I don't release a similar video at the same time. It actually happened again fairly recently. I was working on a video, and the day that I was working on it, somebody else, I think it was Pangolin. It was when I did my last Pangolin video. Somebody else made a video released a video the day that I was editing mine. Vitrol says, does it really matter? No. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. I think if Ben and I, because we've had this conversation, but it's more about optics than what really matters. Because I could easily go to Ben's channel or other channels and be like, okay, here's a list of stuff on their channel I see that did really well for them. I'm just going to go through and cover those my own way. And I would be well within my right to do that, but there's kind of a fine line that you have to walk. So the reason I don't watch a lot of self-hosted content is because I don't want to even take the risk of accidentally doing something. Dude, it's rough. Like, and it's a situation I put myself in, right? It's why I'm trying to branch out a little bit anyway with other tech content. But even that is, I'm not a big networking guy. I'm not. I have a big network. I'm not a big networking guy. There are things about networking that still baffle me. And Mandy's right. Since every creator is different, their videos will also be different. But yeah, you're right. But but I try to be very cognizant of what was recently released. Like if I went back to Ben's channel and I went back and I saw something he did like 2 months ago, no problem covering that, right? But I don't want to follow closely on the heels of Ben's video, because it wouldn't look good. Like to me, it wouldn't look good. To me, it would feel like I was just trying to crush his content, to bury his content. Absolutely not my goal. So if I were to go to Ben's channel and say, oh, Ben covered something a few months ago that I haven't covered that looks interesting. If it was a couple of months ago, fine, whatever. The traction on that video has probably dwindled. That's how videos work. But I'm not going to deliberately release a video that somebody else has recently released, unless it's a collaborative thing where like a company's reached out and like, hey, look, we're all trying to release this piece of content on the same day. If it was something like that, it would be different. But I try to be very cognizant of the release of my content, just because I don't want to look like I'm trying to crush somebody else, especially when there's such a big disparity in the sizes of our audiences. And John brings up a valid point. Like here's the way I would see something like that working, right? Is we would both pick a topic. Like we would work together to pick a topic, right? And we would cover the entirety of the topic, but we would each pick half of the topic to go more in depth on. Maybe I would just talk about the functionality of it. Like, here's how it works. Here's how it does what it does. Here are my thoughts on why it does certain things or what I would like to see done differently. And I could be like, hey, if you guys want to see, a really well put together demonstration of how to deploy this on your own server, go check out Ben's channel. He's done a great video on how to deploy this, with these, whatever, right? We could do something like that, I think. I think that's how it, in my opinion, would work the best off the top of my head. If you don't have the same number of subscribers, should it matter? Yeah, it matters more in that regard. Because if Ben did a video on upvote RSS, and then like 2 days later, I did a video on upvote RSS, it could give viewers the impression that I was trying to squash his video. So it's for me, it's just an optics thing, and I know I'm probably looking into it too much. But because I've had people accuse me of doing something I didn't do, it makes me even more conscious of making sure I don't do it, even unintentionally. So, but there are just certain channels I don't watch, certain channels I don't keep track of, for a number of different reasons. But that was honestly one of the reasons I stopped watching that channel exclusively. So, and you're right, Thomas. It's almost impossible to stay clear of someone else's channel as far as the content is concerned. It seems like it would eat up a lot of time trying not to copy someone else. Yeah, it's 100% that. That's one of the issues that I've found myself in, and I'm working on that. Right? It's why I'm trying to diversify my content a bit more with mini PCs and with hardware and those sorts of things, because I'm trying to not only be the Docker guy, right? It's something that I've pigeonholed myself into unintentionally. So I'm trying to diversify again, right? Like my channel is called DB Tech. It's not DB Docker. It's not DB self-hosted. It's DB Tech. And I've tried numerous times to branch out a little bit and do different things. And those videos don't do as well, but they also start attracting a different audience. My Docker stuff didn't do well at first either. But if I keep doing the mini PCs, if I keep doing, like even that O-Ray docking station I did a while back, I'm still using it on both of my setups. It's awesome. I love it. It didn't do well, but it still brought in new subscribers. So if I keep doing the hardware aspect of things, it's still going to keep bringing in new audience so that I can keep growing both segments of the channel. And I don't have to worry about, oh, well, Ben did this thing that I wanted to do. And I'm not trying to pick on Ben here. It's just as an example. This creator did a video I really want to do, but now I've got this other piece of content. I can review this instead and give their video a week to just do its thing, and then I can talk about it. So that's kind of that's why I'm trying to diversify my content a little bit, is because I'm trying to have different audiences that I can appeal to, depending on what I want to talk about, depending on what's already been talked about too much. Like I want to have I want to have a more diverse segment of content, so I can not just keep pigeonholing myself in a little bit, right? I worry so much about stepping on your toes as the creators, especially as the new guy. I think you'll be all right, Collins. I do. That sounds like a great idea. Your strengths are both accurate or accentuated DB on the demonstrating of the app and then deploying the app. Yeah, I think that could be fun. I don't think you're looking into it too much. I think you're correct. Ben says, I think it just shows how good of a person you are. I appreciate that. I do. It's also put a stranglehold on the growth of my channel. So I'm trying to find that balance for myself. And now that my mental health is doing better, I'm finding it easier to change what I'm doing. So totally get the Docker guy. Yeah, Docker is just simple and easy entry to services to deploy. It can be, but oftentimes, like I did one a while back. I did a video a while back. Man, now I got to find it. Because it was DocPeak. The DocPeak video should have been simple, but their Docker Compose setup was incorrect. So I had to restructure their Docker Compose to get it to work the way I thought it should work. So if somebody were to deploy DocPeak the way the developer said you should deploy DocPeak, it wouldn't make sense. It was unnecessarily complicated. So I simplified it my way. So, and that doesn't happen very often, but it does. So I try to help additionally where I can, more than just being like, hey, here's a cool piece of software. It's like, hey, I think they should do this, that, and the other thing. Also, here's a fix for their Docker Compose. Pop says there's a whole subculture of people who crave YouTube drama conflict. It's such a strange subject matter to want. It has no benefit. Just ignore the haters. Yeah, like I actually did a video about some YouTube drama about MKBHD. Back in April of 2024, because I was like, I'll try some drama content. It got 6,000 views. I made $12 off of it, and I lost 4 subscribers. And that's a net loss, right? Initially, I lost 12 subscribers. And since then, 8 people have subscribed because of that video. But I'm still at a negative loss of 4. Or a net loss of 4. So yeah, I try to avoid the drama for the most part. Let's see. Instead of just covering new deployments, try working on integrations between existing deployments. That is actually what one of my upcoming videos is about. It's about taking several deployments and putting them into good use together. So I'm actually working on that. So no, I appreciate that. That kind of reinforces my idea. Have Podman and Kubernetes for the next level? Yeah, I've looked at Podman a little bit, but Kubernetes is way outside the scope of anything I want to even look at. Dushko says, oh my God, you make live stream. Yeah, I try to do one once a week. Look, I almost punked out this week. I literally almost punked out this week. I almost was like, no, I don't want to. But then I was like, screw it. It doesn't matter if I don't want to. I'm gonna. Oh, Sven, thank you for the donation. That was really nice. I really appreciate that. You basically paid for my email this month, which was awesome. Thank you. Docker just makes so much sense. Each service can be a compose file with about 20 to 100 lines. Not sure what I would do if not for Docker. Haven't tried self-hosting without it. So something that you could do, which is awesome. I'm actually really glad you brought that up, is LXCs. Let me see if I can find. And what I mean by that is, let me just show you, right? This is Proxmox, right? Obviously. And I just did a PVEAM update. But now if I clear my screen, I can do PVEAM available. You can, right. So all of this turnkey Linux stuff that we see here, collaborative, concrete, Drupal, easy platform, Foodsoft, Magento, Moin, Process Maker, Vision Control, Drupal, Ghost, New Social, Joomla. All of these are, you can just deploy this as a service, right? It spins up an LXC and it's just a service ready to go that doesn't require Docker. And all of these different turnkey options here are just things that you can do, like, let's just do this, right? I can do copy, and I can say PVEAM download local. So I'm just saying, hey, Proxmox, download to my local storage this ZoneMinder image, right? And I can say go. And then I can actually spin up an LXC with that image and have something available there as a self-hosted application that isn't Docker. Maybe one of these days we'll do some of these just to see how it goes. Zero Linux, thank you for the $2 donation. That was really nice. Ben, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. That was really nice as well. I appreciate you guys for that. Let's see. Docker pipeline Kubernetes, to me, it's all the same thing. I mean, it's kind of all the same underlying technology, just different deployment processes. I've had to do that with a few projects. I had to make my own GitHub to host working compose files. Yeah. Restructuring a city, ignore that comment. Yep, Zero Linux. It's hard to ignore the hate. And this is why I don't do YouTube content. Dude, I was my own hateful YouTube commenter for a really long time, and I hate myself for having been that person, but I'm trying to be a better person. Is that tea?
Are you?
Oh, I am. I genuinely am. Thank you very good much.
Well, I hope that helps.
Thank you. Let's see. I love your shirt, and so does the wife. Yeah, it was totally unintentional. We wore the same shirt today. Like, I haven't even been able to wear this shirt in months because I was so heavy. Like, it didn't fit well. So it's like, cool, I'll wear that. And I walked out and she was wearing her version of the same thing. So yeah, I love this shirt. Are self-hosters not saving their Docker Compose in their own repo anyway? I don't. I know I don't though. I should. I really should. And I've been meaning to go through and grab all of my Compose files and store them, but I've been really, really bad about not doing that, which was going to bite me in the butt at some point. Hold on. Pop says, speaking of drama, did you hear that Linus from Linux is effectively removed? BTRS co-maintainer build on Anthropic. I hadn't heard about any of that. That's crazy. Hold on. Keep moving around. The Proxmox community scripts for LXCs are awesome too. Some of them really are. You just be careful with them. The community script started as basically one dude who was doing it, and when he had passed, other people took over it. And it seems like there may be less oversight about what's being released, so just be careful with those. LXCs are my favorite. I like them more than Docker personally. I mix, like as you saw, I've got LXCs that just have Docker installed in them so that each of my Docker services can run in their own LXC, so that if one of them goes awry or crashes or whatever, they're easier for me to restore. I understand the security implications of that. It's just how I've decided to do it. Turnkey was my gateway into self-hosting a long time ago. Yeah. Would you recommend updating to Proxmox 9? I mean, probably. Probably at some point. I think there are definitely a few things that it's worth, I think. But like we updated This server, which is just a little mini PC sitting over here, we updated this to 9 recently just to see how it would go. It was fine. But while we were doing that, other people in the stream, in the chat, had mentioned that like my upgrade went much smoother than theirs. And that makes sense because my install was very, very new. Like I hadn't done any modifications to my setup at all. So I didn't have anything that was going to conflict. So probably, I think I like looked through, the README file on 9, see if the changes are worth it for you, and then update if it makes sense. Nighthawk says, I've updated my 4 nodes and have to do the 50 plus for work next week. So yeah, that doesn't sound fun, man. That doesn't sound fun at all. Jason said he's still waiting. John says there's a lot of people who are moving away from GitHub. That's true. There are a lot of people moving away from like Git, moving to Forgio. I think that's how it's pronounced. I looked it up the other day. But like that Forgio, I think it's Forgio. Forgeo, I think it's Forgeo is actually how it's pronounced based on what I ascertained from my research. Forgeo, which is it's a fork of Git. So like I've been hosting my own Git instance for certain things, but I need to, like Mandy said, actually go through and document all of my Docker Compose files, just because I've been really, really garbage about that. Tea times means halfway through. We'll see. I've got, like I said, I've got a package out for delivery that is supposed to be here in the next 20 minutes. Cool. That's that. All of that other stuff is fine. Cool. Visual says I moved to GitHub at least for images after hearing about the Docker pull limits. Yep. I don't know if they pulled it back. I've heard mixed reviews on. In fact, I know they haven't pulled it back because I recently had an updater. I had an updater go wonky on me, and I got rate limited really fast. So I don't know that they've limited or they've unrestricted that 100 pull limit. Isn't that what a wiki is for, though, to store all of the compose files that you've covered? I used to do that. I've got a Bookstack instance that I used to do that with, and I would store the Docker Compose files there. But then it was a matter of making sure that I went back regularly to make sure that the actual Docker Compose from the developer hadn't changed a whole bunch. And as a result of that, I fell behind. I haven't touched my Bookstack instance in years at this point. So at this point in my Docker videos, in the video description, I'm like, hey, here's a link to the official Docker Compose file or the official Docker repository or whatever, right? If I've got my own modified Docker Compose files, I will put them on like a paste bin clone. But I really should set up something like a Git or something that's public facing, just for that. But I also need to have my own private Git or Forgio or whatever, Forgeo repository to store all of my personal stuff, including the Docker Compose files that I'm using. Yeah, Nighthawk saying the same thing. If you say use a Debian 13 LXC when it's on Debian 13, does that possibly pop? It could affect the efficacy or the efficiency. Efficiency is what I meant there. I don't know. I've never actually done any testing on that. Yeah, Nighthawk's got a great answer there as well. Jason's using the same strategy as I do. Have you tried docploy? If so, what's your opinion on it? Docploy sounds familiar. Docploy sounds familiar. Oh, that's why it sounds familiar. because I don't like these platforms as much. I know that they're super popular and they've got their market. I'm just not a fan of them. Yeah, it's pronounced, I think the way because like I went to their website and I grabbed the little pronunciation thing that nobody knows what it means. And I was like, hey, Gemini, how do I pronounce this? And I think the way it told me to pronounce it was like for J-O, I think is basically what it said. So that's kind of what I've been going with is for J-O. Wouldn't document everything in a wiki be more work but better though? Yeah, because all the control over it. Yeah, it would be, except that if the developer changes the container or makes a big change to the structure of the container, and then changes the structure of the GitHub repository, then you run the risk of the old Docker Compose not working with the new the new container. So, but I will always put in there like, here's the official, here's my modified, and I was like, but also always refer to the official documentation. Like I always try to make sure to include that. DB is stun locked, can't finish the newsletter. Dude, this happens. This happens. Like, because so what happened was I didn't have anything to talk about, but I had seen some stuff in the newsletter that I thought would be interesting enough to talk about. So I was like, okay, well, that's going to be the premise of the live stream, is these looking through a few things in the newsletter. But then you guys just keep chatting with me and we keep having a conversation, which I would rather do anyway. But if I don't have a specific topic in the in like the title and description and thumbnail, then people don't come visit. Right? If I'm just like, hey, we're hanging out and chatting, I get like 20 people here, which is great. I love those 20 people. But now, like for a while, we had like 60 people. We had 58 people at one point. So I'm not trying to game the system, and I'm not trying to be disingenuous with the title and the description and the thumbnail of the live stream. But every time we start talking about something, we sidetrack. So, Ben says, yeah, I'm not the only person that struggles with the pronunciation of those. Dude, there are so many different products and services coming out at such a rapid pace anymore that people are having to come up with really, really strange, sometimes dumb names for their projects because there's nothing left. So God, why does it keep doing that? So yeah, people are having to come up with the crazy, crazy names for their projects, and that sucks for them, and it sucks for us when we're trying to talk about them. They're having to use words from other languages to describe what their project is, so that it's kind of relevant but not, and it's rough. I can't imagine. It's hanging with DB Tech Time. I would love to have that as my title, but people won't click on that as much. Mental instability is my middle name. I get that a lot. I think the last couple months is the best my brain has ever been in my life, and that sucks. Like, I'm super happy for it that I'm finally there, but often I get sad of like, oh, I could have been like this the whole time. And it's just like, oh, this is brutal, you know? Absolutely squirrel, man, 100% squirrel. We start talking about one thing and then we jump around a bunch. And I love it. I saw a project with the name Eigenfocus, and I can imagine that a non-Dutch speaker cannot pronounce it. I would pronounce it Eigenfocus. That's my first response. But I'm sure it's not right. But I take a more of a German approach to that. And I say that as somebody that doesn't speak German. So I got nothing, but that's my first go-to is Eigenfocus. Ben, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a really long, hard struggle of finding all of the right bits and pieces to do better. And I've got a psych person that I'm working with, that referred me to somebody else to supplement what she's doing. So I got this team of people helping me with my mental health. My wife is also working on her mental health, and I'm not trying to out her, but we were kind of in a spiral together for a while. So we're both working together to do better for ourselves and for each other, which is also helping the kid. Mostly, he's been kind of a douche today. Close, but still not correct. That's fair. And again, but yeah, I don't speak anything other than English. Yeah, you say that. I don't think it's going to happen. See, Ben speaks German. That's good. It's at the point where you need a phonetic dictionary to find out how to say the names anymore. Yeah, it was like, so here's what I did, right? If I could forge Joe, I'm going to do this, right? I know you can't see my screen. We'll get there. Is it on there? It's not on here. It is it's over on Codeberg. All right, you bunch of show-offs. I'm happy for you. Was it here? Man, I don't remember where I saw it. News release, chat code, governance tracker, status, imprint. Is it here? No, it's not there. Docs. Man, I don't know where I saw it. It sucks. Sorry, I was looking here because somewhere on here they had FAQ. Maybe it's here. Yeah. So it's, here we go.
For jail.
Yeah, I was right. I mean, I wasn't right.
For jail.
For J-O. I know some Rammstein lyrics. I used to know the Cookie Recipe song. But yeah. Yeah, for J-O. But basically I grabbed that little pronunciation thing from their website and I took it over and I think I was like, hey, Gemini, how do I pronounce that? And it told me basically the same thing. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, I kept calling it Forja-Joe because I'm a dumb American. And I was like, I know it's not Forja-Joe. That would be dumb. So I started looking interest. A more Spanish approach, probably. I only spoke a little Spanish for a while because I dated a Colombian girl. And you pick up on some Spanish when you're being yelled at a lot. I'm from Macedonia. You have wonderful videos on your channel. I'm honestly so glad I caught you on live stream. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I try to do a live stream every Saturday, same time, basically 10 a.m., but that's like UTC -6. And I think here soon that's going to change to -7. I wish we could get rid of the time change. Obviously not the time zones, but the time change twice a year. I think it's an outdated idea. I don't speak German when I'm drunk. 4 years in Germany from the army taught me that. I believe it. It's been a while. It's a while until the change. Daylight time needs to go, dude. Though, right. We need to pick one and just stick with it. Like, I don't care if it's savings or whatever, man. Just pick one and leave it alone. Like, we will adjust. I would rather adjust one more time than twice a year for the rest of my life. It's dumb. And daylight savings here, but they want to remove it so that we don't get dark until 9. Europe on summertime. Yeah. Right. Drinking stream went, right. I try to stick to water and tea on stream. There have been a couple of times. I think last summer I did a stream where I was drinking a beer. I know craft. I know they drink on craft, which is fine. I don't know, just not my thing. I feel like there was something I missed here. They want to get rid of daylight. Yep. Damn it, quit. All right, I guess I was caught up. That's a good drink. Yeah, I'm such a big fan of tea. And again, I can't have green tea. I lost my green tea privileges several years ago, and that makes me angry. I really like green tea, but I can't have it. But it doesn't mean I can't have beer or whiskey or vodka. In fact, I'm doing a Ukrainian vodka thing that we actually was brought up in Discord a couple of weeks ago, and my wife read it, and she's like, we should do that. So we started it this last Monday. It's got all kinds of different stuff. It's got vodka, obviously, and horseradish and lemons and allspice peas and I think something else. But it's got that's the one. It'll be ready Monday, which is great because it's a holiday. So we're excited to give that a go. Like Wednesday or Thursday, I went in and kind of stirred it up. Try it neat and then have some Bloody Mary with it. That sounds good. I'm curious about that. We may have to get some Bloody Mary mix. Is there an open project via which I can back up images to a cloud backup via Google Drive so that if my PineAss gets messed up, I can recover it? Yeah. You could use SyncThing for that. I had a very did Image push another breaking change? I don't know. I made a video about Image when it was still real early with Image, and I was still very early with Docker. I wasn't super impressed with Image at the time. I was still using Google Photos from my image backup, so I hadn't fully switched to the more of the self-hosting stuff yet at that point. At this point, my wife and I both use the Synology Photos app on our phones because it works. It's been great. I don't have to think about it. I've got photos. I've got the Synology Photos, and it just works so well. So that's what I'm using. I probably should take another look at Image at some point. Collins, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. The gifting of 5 donations there. Couldn't get Image to do what I wanted it to. I had the same issue, but again, it was really early in my exploration of Docker. And it was, gosh, when did I make that video? Let's look. Because it wasn't a great video. And I know that to be true. Yeah, August 18th of 2022. I should probably redo this video. It gained me 148 subscribers and 2,600 watch hours. Thanks, Sebastian. I just changed to a new microphone. I got the Hollyland Lark M2 wireless setup, and it just showed up yesterday. I got tired of futzing with all my different microphones that I've got laying around. I wanted to be able to go over. I've got this whole section over here with an overhead cam for doing unboxings and that sort of thing. And I just got tired of screwing with microphones. And I had this other Holy Land system. I just wasn't happy with it. And I had seen huge raving reviews about this. And I was like, screw it. I got it on sale for like $110. And it's actually got two different microphones, so I can mic 2 people. It's also I'm connected via USB-C on the receiver, but I've also got a 3.5 millimeter adapter and a lightning plug adapter for iPhones and that sort of thing. And my first experience with it blew my mind. So thank you for noticing. I really appreciate it. Thomas says I couldn't get image to do what I wanted it to do. Yeah, I'll probably take a look at it at some point again, because it seems to be a popular topic. But yeah, so I will probably have to review it again. Do I have that open somewhere? Oh, I do. It's currently on. Oh, it's not even on sale. I got it for $110. So I'm going to paste in this. This is an affiliate link for the microphone that I bought. That is an affiliate link. I want to be very clear that that's an affiliate link. But I'm super happy with it. They've got other versions of it as well. Maybe one of them just has the Lightning, or one of them just has the 3.5 millimeter. But like I was like, screw it. I want to make sure that I've got every available option. So that's what I did. It was like $110, and not even on sale. It was $110 at full price. An image, and I really like having access to my mobile images and video on any device, local or remote. Yeah, that again, I can do the same thing with Google, or not Google, obviously Google, with Synology Photos. I just dumped the photos to share to a NAS and TrueNAS. I never liked the whole syncing part. Don't like syncing in general. That's fair. I wanted to pull images from Google and Microsoft. And that's actually what I did at one point. Like I basically downloaded a backup of all of my Google stuff and dumped it into a photos folder. Pop says, how long does a single charge last? I have no idea. Genuinely no idea. Like it could crap out on me at any time here. But so far it's been going for 2 hours and 3 minutes. So beyond that, I don't know. But that 40 hours, I think, also includes the case that has a battery in it for recharging. So I think you'll get up to 40 hours if you keep recharging it in here. As far as beyond that, I don't know how long an individual charge will last. The Lark M2 wireless microphone can work for up to 10 hours with noise canceling off. And that, so, I mean, I guess this could crap out. Well, what did I say, 10 hours? So I would imagine 5 hours with noise canceling on, which is long enough for me. And honestly, if this craps out, I can just swap in real time and I'll have, like 10 or 15 seconds of downtime. Won't be a big deal. Quiet Association says, hey, what's up? Good to catch the live stream. What are we talking about today? Everything. We're talking about everything. It was going to be about the self-hosted newsletter, some stuff in there I found I wanted to talk about. But every time we start talking about that, we get sidetracked. We have talked about everything today. So Vitrol says, I shy away from wireless tech as much as possible. I prefer wired for most stuff, although I may consider a wireless headset since wired gets annoying sometimes. And that's kind of the issue I was dealing with my wired microphones. I've got both, like my overhead and my other one are both Audio-Technica. They sound great. But I've got cables everywhere for them. I've got additional cables for my audio interface. And this is like the, I'll just show this real quick. Oops. Jeez, dude, pay attention to what you're doing. So this is the Lightning adapter. That's how big it is. And the USB adapter is no bigger or no smaller. It is this size. So it just plugs into the front over here and it just works. It sounds good. I don't have to deal with it. So that's what I'm using right now, and I really like it. It looks like, does it also have? Oh, and I didn't even realize that. It's also got a USB-C, I think a pass-through there. I just now realized that. So you're not even losing a USB-C port there, because it's got a pass-through. I just realized that. That's amazing. He shared an affiliate link. Get him. Yep, I declared it though. Nighthawk says, stepping away. Yeah, dude, I'm probably going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. I know we were going to do this, but like we've been going for a couple of hours. We got somebody staying with us right now. I've got a package out for delivery I'm really excited about. Yeah, so it's what you're actually seeing here. What a sellout. Yeah. Did you see the new AU Star W-Tar? I saw it, but I haven't had a chance to review it. I mentioned my kitchen sink. So is the mic on your shirt? Yeah. So what you're seeing is the back of the magnet, right? It's just this little puck. This is on the inside of my shirt, and it just clips on. It's just that easy. So what you're hearing is actually filtered through my shirt. I'm using it as like a pop filter, I guess. But yeah, really, really happy with it. Colin says I got to get the school supplies together for Tuesday. Holy cow. It'd be really grateful if you could create a video on how to use multiple drives as an upload destination. That's just called RAID. And RAID is going to be dependent on the operating system that you're using. Like I could talk about RAID all day, but setting up RAID in TrueNAS is going to be different than setting up RAID in Open Media Vault, which is going to be different than doing it in a Ugreen NAS, which is going to be different than doing it in a TerraMaster NAS and a Synology NAS. Like each platform is going to be setting up RAID differently. So it's not a great topic to cover. Is there a way to prioritize containers running on a system first, then others, like not individually in a stack, like having Nginx proxy manager and other containers, but like run first like that? Yeah. So in your Docker Compose files, I believe that you can have a wait time. Docker Compose wait to deploy. I feel like I saw something at one point where you can wait a certain time. No, I don't care. I feel like that there is a certain. I feel like there's a way that you can. I don't remember what it is because I feel like somebody else asked me that question at some points. Well, okay, you can use depends on, which is you're right, but I think they're talking about like having like say Nginx proxy manager start and then like 3 minutes later have other things start popping up. The thing I was thinking of is actually in Proxmox, in the options. Yeah, like, so this is what I was thinking of. Like in Proxmox, you can say startup delay of, whatever, and you can put a time in that. That's what I was thinking of. But I think they're talking about having individual Docker Compose files that aren't dependent on each other. Just like I want this to start and I want to give it 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes after the server is up, then start this other Docker Compose. Whoa, did we crap out? Or is my screen over here crashed on me? Sleep before start as an environment variable. There you go. And I think that's what, like 10 seconds, right? We have to do everything in seconds there. So that might be the answer there. That might be the thing that I think I saw over here. That was just sleep. That might work. I don't know. I've never tested that. But depends on, does that work across multiple different Docker Compose files? I don't know. I've never tested that. This is a question I've never actually encountered. I did have, like I said, I had it set up over in a Docker Compose. Just individual containers, like you said. Yeah, so I think you would have to do, if what Mental is saying with the sleep before start equals 10 as an environment variable, that might work. I don't know. Can use depends on another service, but I don't know. But can you depend on another service that isn't part of the same Docker Compose, right? Can you have, this Docker Compose depend on this service on this Docker Compose, being up, being healthy, right? That ends up being another separate question. But can you then also just say, I want the whole system to wait 10 minutes before this comes up? Service in same Docker Compose, right? Yeah, I can't imagine having one central Docker Compose to run everything. That would melt my brain. Container in separate Compose. Yeah, so I don't know. It's an interesting question. I don't know if you can have. I feel like you should be able to say in one Docker Compose, it's still looking for a service based on Docker. You can include them from the file to organize. So, core washer. Hey, Savag, thanks for joining. Appreciate seeing you here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would work. It's a really good question. I've never actually tested that, but it's definitely something that'd be worth investigating, just as not even necessarily a proof of concept, but just kind of a fun thought experiment. I don't know. Kind of an interesting idea. That should be standing. There we go. I knocked that over earlier. Man, I don't think my package is here yet. I have like a container that runs Nginx proxy and then some Laravel apps individual, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting idea. I know that you can. I think it depends on. Yeah, like I know you can do stuff like lazy loading, but in fact, I made a video about lazy loading Docker services at one point. That's a good point. Portainer might. Yeah, I don't know. Man, he's not even close. That person. All right. Yeah, I don't know. We could take a look, I guess. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, I'm just pulling something up here real quick. All right, so let's add a container, advanced mode, always pull the image. It's got our name, and I'm skipping the Docker Compose aspect of this entirely. So always pull the image, create a container webhook. That's a business feature. Port configuration, map additional ports. Yeah, I wanted to see in here, like if there's runtime and resources, privilege modes, type, add a device, system, enable GPU, CPU and memory usage there, capabilities. I don't see anything there. Stacks. I don't think it's going to be here because you're just dropping a Docker Compose in there. I don't think it's going to do anything there. Yeah, Thomas brings up the same point that I did earlier. And that's what I did because I had one service that I wanted to be up before everything else. I don't remember why. Oh, actually, I do remember why. Actually, there was a service that I wanted to run, that I wanted to start up last because it was super resource intensive. And it was killing the load time of everything else because everything else was just trying to come up at once. So I had everything else start, and I told it to wait 5 minutes, and then it could come up, and then it could start. So I did that. That's what it was. But beyond that, I don't know of any way to do it. But I did do it that way. I think it was for... man, what was it? It was Active Pieces. Active Pieces was it took up a lot of resources when it was starting. After that, it was fine. But during startup, Active Pieces was really resource intensive. Never be afraid of basic bash and cron. That's true too. I put limits on all my compose services. I was thinking about having a bash script starting the Docker container after the other containers you had. Yeah, ask ChatGPT for a script. And I've done that a couple of times. And I've also had that kind of bite me in the butt. I actually had, I did that a couple of weeks ago when we were doing Docker and we were doing the Docker install on the new Proxmox testing server, because I didn't have it checked for dependencies before it did anything. And it was such a nightmare. So you got to make sure you're taking everything into consideration when you're asking ChatGPT to do these things, or when any of them, not just ChatGPT. Like here, you can say like, "Hey, I've got this idea for something that I want to have a script to do. These are my initial thoughts. What other considerations should I make in this, and how easy it is to do this?" Get the answer, read the answer, and say, "Look, based on all of that, I'd like you to build a script for me that does all of the stuff we've talked about to make sure that we cover all of the dependencies." Having the little nuances in there are super, super important. Otherwise, it will only do exactly what you ask it to do, which is good, but you have to really put a lot of thought into that sort of thing. Learn Linux TV has made a video about troubleshooting stuff with AI. I believe that. He does a really good job with that in-depth technical stuff. So I absolutely believe that he's done something like that, and probably covered it very well, because he does that too, and makes a lot of us look bad. So, which I mean lightheartedly, of course, but no, he puts out really good in-depth content. Did you ever use Lazy Docker? I made a video about Lazy Docker. I didn't actually ever use it for myself. I thought it was an interesting concept. Yeah, Lazy Docker. I made a video about that in September of 2022. And that was a long time ago. And it didn't do well, but I think part of that was my fault. I don't even know if Lazy Docker has been actively maintained. I haven't looked at it in a long time. 5 months ago. Lazy Tainer, which I guess Lazy Tainer is the one that I made a video about. I don't know if I made a video about Lazy Docker. I feel like they're kind of the same thing. Oof, it hasn't been touched in 8 months, which may be fine. Man. Yeah, sorry, I should pull this up. Oh, it's a terminal for Docker and Docker Compose. Okay, I was thinking of something else. Docker, let's see. Never found anything that has added enough value like that over just a regular compose file in a directory. Even Portainer doesn't add that much. Look, I tend to agree with that to a certain point. Sometimes I just want to be lazy though. And I want to more easily access logs. I want to be able to click around quickly and not have to run a bunch of commands. Hey, Collins, thanks so much for hanging out. Appreciate you. So sometimes I just want to be able to click around quickly to troubleshoot what I'm troubleshooting. But I tend to do a fair amount in the terminal these days. I know that I can do, a Docker logs container name -f and follow the logs as they're coming. But I don't know. Sometimes I like to use Portainer for just certain things. I was a really big fan of Dockage, or however it's actually meant to be pronounced. The problem with it is that it hasn't been touched in 4 months. I know that Louis Lamb is working on other things as well. He's also working on a new version of Uptime Kuma, which is great. And an RDP portal and Akai Grid, and like the dude's super prolific. Yeah, Uptime Kuma updated. He made an update to that 37 minutes ago. Dockage April 16th, June 8th on RDP portal. Lazy compressed for H265. Like, so, he's working on stuff. And I really, really liked the overall aesthetic and feel and the whole interaction of Dockage. It doesn't get enough maintenance for me to feel comfortable using it. Oh man. But yeah, no, I loved that. In fact, I love basically everything that Louis Lamb has put, or Louis Lamb. I don't know if it's Louis or Louis. But I really dig the stuff that they put out. But yeah, and then, again, it kind of goes back to what I've said a million times of like, what I love about self-hosting is we can each handle it the way that makes the most sense for us. Sometimes I just use the terminal for things. Sometimes I just use Proxmox or just use Portainer for things. And I love the flexibility of being able to kind of swap back and forth comfortably and manage things as I see fit in that particular moment. So yeah, big fan. But I do think, with that said, I am going to start wrapping this up. I need to grab something to eat. And I also want to, again, take a look at the package that was delivered yesterday, because that's going to be a whole piece of content on its own. And I'm excited about that. So it's going to be all like futuristic space age stuff in that one. So not really self-hosted, just as a point of interest, but could be tied into like Home Assistant or something like that, I think. So we'll see. But I got to go test it first to make sure. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate all of the charitable donations that were made via chat donations and PayPal direct donations. And the channel memberships. Thank you guys for all of that. It really does help me keep doing what I'm doing here. And of course, I love hanging out and chatting with you guys for a couple hours every week. And just whether we've got a plan or not, I dig that you guys come and hang out. So thank you again for everything. New content coming this week, of course. A new live stream probably next week. That said, there might be a couple of weekends. I'm gonna have to figure it out. We've got somebody coming in to visit for a couple of weeks, and I'll have to see how that goes. But we're gonna keep doing our thing here on the channel because you guys keep watching. So thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll chat with you again here real soon.